2020, Kanye West gave his wife at the time, Kim Kardashian, a hologram message of her late father for her birthday. 5 years later, artificial intelligence seems to be making this a widespread phenomenon.
A new AI company, Two-Way, went viral after its co-founder, former Disney Channel star Calum Worthy, released a video highlighting the company's new app that allows users to create interactive avatars of deceased family members.
The clip shows a pregnant woman speaking to an AI creation of her late mother through the phone. It then fast forwards 10 months to the AI grandma reading a story to the baby. It goes on to show the child grow up, talking to his grandma at different stages of his life, like walking home from school, to eventually him telling his grandma she's about to be a great grandmother. The video says, with Two-Way, 3 minutes can last forever. Calum Worthy wrote on X, "What if the loved ones we've lost could be part of our future? At Two-Way, we're building a living archive of humanity, one story at a time."
Those on the left and the right are finding common ground on this new feature. I think that's in opposition to it. Conservative commentator Michael Knowles called it the most horrifying thing he's ever seen. And New York Times opinion writer Jane Coaston said she thinks this is genuinely evil. I certainly kind of find it fairly creepy and dystopian, and I don't like anything about it. But
Same way.
Yeah, it's just to the idea. I mean, my grandparents are long deceased, but the idea that you film someone while they're still alive. You use that footage to then create an avatar, and through the wonders of AI, they then respond to you in real time. I mean, everything about that just seems off to me.
Yeah, it's difficult for me to hide my disgust for this.
Well, I think you should give full voice to your disgust.
Full disgust.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much wrong with it. First of all, you're putting words in a dead person's mouth, right? I mean, this is an AI robot sort of analyzing what they might say in a situation, but it's not really them, right? That's the whole point. Also, there's part of humanity is the finality of death. This feels inhuman to me in that way. And as I was watching the video of the baby, particularly, listening to grandma, oh gosh, grandma, talking to him, and his eyes are lighting up and he's so excited. And I thought, oh my gosh, what is that baby going to think when he finds out grandma is dead?
Right. And
he never gets to hug grandma or see her in the flesh, but he's built this fake relationship with grandma through a phone screen. I found that particularly devastating.
Yeah, and a fake emotional relationship, right? I mean, I'm just thinking back now to when I was a kid. I mean, my father's parents were, well, they were both deceased when I was still quite young, but I was close to my maternal grandparents, and that was a genuinely sort of emotional relationship. And then you take some like fake computerized version of them, potentially for younger children, and then, as you say, that child grows up. The idea also, I mean, I think where I have many of my problems with it is I just don't know who it appeals to, because if you have lost a family member, in what sense do you get comfort from a fake AI version of that person on your phone? That seems like just disturbing and potentially, not to sound too sort of overly grave about it, but like the actual normal process of grief sort of gets short-circuited by the fact that you now have this AI avatar version.
I think that's exactly right. Now, when my dad passed away, there's this phenomenon that happens to a lot of people who are grieving where you kind of see the person everywhere. Like you look around and you see someone, like I would see someone in a welding cap and I'd be like, oh my gosh, there's dad. And it takes a while before that impulse of like searching kind of goes away. And so I can only imagine if you are seeing this AI created version of this person's face moving all of the time, that you just get stuck in that part of grief. Like you never really get to move to the next stage and eventually get to a place where your life feels kind of normal again. I just can't imagine that this is healthy for people who are going through loss.
No, I agree with all of that. Briefly, to divert from this well, it's on this same topic, but not relating to relatives. What do you think of those AI things? Because you're a religious person and I'm not, and there's been quite a lot of publicity recently with these sort of like AI Jesus, basically.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought this up. Okay, so I was reading about this yesterday, and I saw that there was a function where you can talk to Satan. And you can imagine my horror dial. I was like, why would you want to talk to Satan? I mean, okay.
The devil has all the best tunes.
Oh, so scary. So, I mean, Catholics will know this. I read a lot about exorcisms and listen to podcasts. I find it really fascinating because it's a really unique element of the Catholic faith. And what they talk about, the priests who do the exorcisms, is that you do not enter into a conversation with the demons. Why? Because they lie and they're manipulative, right? Like they're evil, so they're trying to sort of toy with you to get you to do what they want. So the idea of having an AI conversation with AI Satan, I was like, what good is going to come from that? Is the idea that you can tell AI Satan that you're a Christian and he's going to say like, no, don't be a Christian. I just don't understand why you would even want to mess with bad juju like that.
Right. Well, even on the side of the forces of light rather than the forces of darkness, even as a non-religious person, I remember discussing this actually on News Nation, our sister network, some time ago, with an anchor who is a Christian. And one of the things that perplexed me is the idea that even in the case of sort of AI Jesus, you're suggesting, if you're a believer, that this is the voice of the Son of God, of the divinity.
Sounds like blasphemy.
When in fact, exactly, yeah, right? Because it's actually the voice of the algorithm. Mm-hmm. So I just, how that works.
It's worshiping a false god. I mean, right. Did Christians come up with this? Apparently,
I'm not sure.
Yikes. Yeah. It's disturbing. There's also reported this week, there was a woman who either left her fiance or divorced her husband and married an AI character.
World's gone mad.
I know. I'm such a doomer when it comes to this technology. I'm really concerned about what this means for humanity.
Well, to that point, did you see there was a thing on Twitter where people of very disparate political views, it was Matt Walsh and Ryan Grimm, who is a past left chair anchor here, were in agreement about, well, partly the fact that they think AI will destroy millions and millions of jobs, which seems to me a plausible fear. But it is also this issue of breaking down the division between reality and fiction, really, and the real and the imaginary. That seems to me to have real problems in all sorts of ways.
Yes, and one of the things that AI does, at least in its current iteration, is it basically affirms the user. So it will give back to you what you put in, but also it will agree with you, really no matter what you say. And so there's a lot of documentation of people sort of testing this theory, and they will assert something to the AI, and it says, oh yes, you're so right, you're so lovely and so smart. And then they go, well, actually, but that's wrong, AI tool. And the AI goes, you're so right, that was incorrect. And it's like, well, what is the point of this? Yep. It's just to make people feel good. Well, that could be very destructive in a lot of different ways, including cases where the AI has encouraged people to commit suicide. Right. So I have deep concerns on the job front, on the basic humanity front, and even just anecdotally, I don't go out of my way to use AI. Google, of course, now has this Gemini function at the top, and when I Google things that I have some knowledge of, I read the Gemini response and I go, 90% of this is inaccurate. Right. And yet this is what students and young people are relying on to teach them about the world.
I know. It used to be the case that only happened to me when I read, maybe reporters or journalists who I had admired about places that I know nothing about, and then they write about some place that I did know something about.
Yes.
That's not right at all. But
many such cases.
Yeah, many such cases, exactly. But now there's a whole AI phenomenon of exactly that, where when it's something you know something about, you're like, that's not right. Mm-hmm. Very, very dangerous, I think. Meanwhile, Uber and Lyft are facing lawsuits from male drivers who say they're being discriminated against by the ride-sharing companies. Let's find out more about that. Don't go anywhere.